Did you know there is an advanced version of subtotal function that give you more control over your calculation? It is called aggregate. It lets you ignore error, hidden rows, nested subtotal, nested aggregate, and make your formula more powerful. So let me show you why this function is game changer for the Excel user. So aggregate syntax is you have to type function number, it have n number of function, we will learn later, and you have to type the option. I will tell you why. So let's begin with, I have this database where I have mentioned the project A, B and C. I have mentioned the subtotal, and now I run the grand total here. So first we will learn how subtotal function will work. Is equal to subtotal, and here I want sum. I will type 9 here for this key, and then the reference is my this cells. So I will get the result subtotal. So I have mentioned the subtotal here. Now if I want the grand total, generally what we will do, we will refer this cell, this cell, this cell and this. This will make your formula more complex, and there may be a chances we may miss some subtotal. So in this case we can use the advanced version of aggregate. I will show you how can you use aggregate, and now see there are around 19 number of function you can use in that. So it is advanced version of subtotal. Suppose right now same I required sum here, so I will type 9 comma. So here is a difference. So it additional function of now option where you can ignore some value, you can ignore rows, nested subtotal. So right now here I want to ignore the subtotal function here, so because there is no such error is there. So I will type 0 comma, and my array is this values. So I will select this range and press enter. See the result. So I am getting the grand total without excluding the nested subtotal. Even if any error is there in a value, suppose if I make some error in this value, still it is impacting, but I can ignore this by using this additional option of called ignore error values nested value. If I do this, wait a minute, I think I have not mentioned here, I have to type the number here. So here the number is 2. I have not mentioned the tab. If I do this, I will get the result, but if I am using the sum function, subtotal, I cannot able to use that. So this is the advanced version of subtotal. So I think even in this range we can use subtotal aggregate here. I can type aggregate, function is sum, here ignore net system. It's always better if you see the third option is, which is ignoring everything, ignore row, error values, nested subtotal and 3. So it's 3 means everything, majority things are excluded, comma, and the array is this. So I can use even which I think I can ignore using subtotal, I can using aggregate now. So this is the all the functions which are available from 1 to 2. You can use minimum, max, you can use the large, small value, percentage, maiden values, you can use n number of time. And here is the feature which is differential from the subtotal is, in addition to the new functions, like you can for the 0, if you omit that, you can ignore the subtotal aggregate, which is also available in the subtotal also. Only limitation in this that it will ignore the sum function. I just forgot to tell, if I have mentioned the sum here, it will include this into the calculation. So I think Excel will come up with some functionality to exclude this sum function also from the nested app, because in ignore function it is ignoring only the subtotal. So that's why it is explaining that when you are making a huge database, you must add a subtotal function in aggregate, not use sum in between that. You have to, it's the first option is ignoring only subtotal aggregates, and the one is it is ignoring the hidden row in addition to what is covered in 0. In 2, it is ignoring the error value and what is including the cover in 0. and 3 is including combination of 0, 1, 2. 4 is if you want to ignore nothing, you want to include everything. If you want to include hidden rows, then it will work. 5 is if you want to ignore only hidden rows. 6 is if you want to ignore error values. 7 is combination of 5 and 6. So as per your requirement, you can use these options. So let's explore what are the further feature. Suppose if in this case I will use the subtotal, there is some error value. Let me see whether it will give me the result or not. It will not giving me the result because there is some error values. But if I am using aggregate function, here I will ask him to use the 3 because 3 means everything is excluded. If I use the range starting to end, press enter, it will give me the result. Also suppose here I have filtered out some customers, and if I want to ignore the hidden rows, then I can use aggregate function sum. Now I want to ignore rows, error value nested, so I will always type 3 and I will select this range. It will give me the result only for the active cells, which value is 5614. So it is giving the result of this. Second is if you want the largest or smallest function, which I can use is in this database I want the which is the value of the largest cell, so I can use aggregate, and here is a function of large, and I will say 3 to ignore all the irrelevant thing like ignore hidden rows, error value, nested subtotal, because it will distort my final result. And array is this. Now this k function is the number which is being used for only these two functions, large and small. So k is the number which is required, largest value. So if I required first largest, so I will type 1 here. The bracket close, I will get the first largest. Let me check what is the largest value. It is 970. It is giving the correct result. If I want second largest, if I 2 here, I will get the second largest. If I get same way, if I got the smallest value, I will type aggregate 9 3, range is this, and the last smallest value 1. Wait a minute, why it is not work? Aggregate range, wait a minute, I think aggregate, oh sorry, I have to mention the smallest value. I have by default mentioned this, so I want smallest value 15, range 3 is excluded, array is this, comma, and then my value is smallest one. So I will get the smallest value, which is 152. So I think after watching this video, I think you should ignore using subtotal, use aggregate to make your calculation correct and exact. So hope you like this video.